Hey everyone, this is Dr. Leila Galban, and today's video we're gonna be talking about a very important aspect of English pronunciation. It is word stress. Here we go. First of all, what's meant by word stress? For speakers and for listeners. For speakers, stress is made by exerting more muscular energy and by pushing more air from the lungs. Okay, this is the role of the speaker. As far as the listener's role is concerned, it has to do with identifying and perceiving this stress, and this is done by something called prominence. Listeners identify stress syllables by the prominence element. If a syllable is prominent, this means that it is stressed and it is important and it gives some important meaning in the message of the utterance. Okay. So how can prominence be achieved? It is achieved by a combination of four factors. Number one, vowel length. The stressed syllable is longer than the unstressed syllable, as in the word computer, pure. Okay. Second is loudness. The stressed syllable is louder than the unstressed syllable, as in computer. Okay. Number three, the stressed syllable has a high pitch, high pitch than the unstressed syllable. And the number four, the vowel quality, which has to do with the clarity which we use in order to pronounce the stressed syllable. You find that the vowel of the stressed syllable is clear, is strong, is made prominent, and so on. So these four elements make something called prominence, and it gives some signal to the listener that this particular syllable is prominent, it's important to the meaning. Please listen to the meaning it carries. So this is the main purpose and the main function of stress, helps both listeners and speakers communicate better. Speaker and wants to pay the attention of the listener to particular words and to particular syllables, and this done by exerting muscular energy and making the stressed syllables longer, louder, different in pitch, and clearer in vowel. And the listener, on the other hand, receives this and understand that this is a very important syllable because it carries important meaning, and so on. And here, successful communication takes place and is accomplished. Okay. Now, is it important for speech? Yes, it's very important because stress is part of the nature of the English language rhythm, which has to do with succession of stresses and unstresses. English doesn't like having stressed syllables all the time or unstressed syllables coming next to one another. No, there must be alternation or succession between stresses and unstresses, and this makes English speakers give importance and prominence to stressed syllables and squeeze, on the other hand, squeeze or drop the unstressed syllables. Between squeezing and stretching, emphasizing and de-emphasizing and de-emphasizing, stressing and de-stressing syllables, we find that the English rhythm runs, and this is a very important thing we should know. And sometimes we feel that in native speakers of English they speak rapidly. No, they are not speaking rapidly. What they are doing is that as far as the stressed syllables are concerned, they say them with extra loudness, extra strength, and extra time, and extra clarity. And the unstressed syllables, they say them with the least effort. So we may feel that they are speaking rapidly. They are not. They only pay attention to the stressed syllables and the important words which carry the meaning of the messages or the utterances they are saying. Okay. طيب نيجي بقى على الword. Why does it matter؟ احنا لسه متكلمين اهو، هنلاقي برضو ان في other important functions. For example, stress helps us to sound more natural, and also indicates our identity, because if you look at listen to words such as dictionary and its two stresses, dictionary and dictionary, dictionary American and dictionary British, and also the way we as Egyptian learners and as Egyptian speakers pronounce words and stress words gives us some sort of identity marker. Stress is an identity marker, identity signal. Number three, stress indicates different meanings of identical words. Words, if you shift stress on them, you will get new meanings. For example, the word object and object. Object is a noun, and object is a verb. Rebel and rebel. Rebel is a noun, and rebel is a verb. What happens is that when we shift stress and put it on other syllables, we get new word classes and we get new meanings. Number four, stress indicates parts of speech. For example, if the word is a noun, if the word is an object, the word is a noun, is a verb, is an adjective, is a preposition, is an article, etc. الستريس بيبين لنا هم دول مين بالظبط. عندنا levels of stress, second element or second important part here, levels of stress. Here we have three levels. Number one, primary stress, which is the strongest, and this is the kind of stress that we place on the most important syllable of a particular word. Number two, secondary stress, which is the less or the second strongest, that we place on the syllables next to the most important syllable. And number three, zero stress, or syllables which are not stressed or de-stressed. Look at the word anthropology here at the bottom of this slide. We find that it has a number of syllables, and the stress syllable here, which carries primary stress, is po, and there is another syllable which is important, which is an anthropology. It's important, but it's not as important as po, and that's why it carries secondary stress, and it's marked here, as you see, by a stroke down, and primary stress is marked by a stroke, high stroke, and secondary stress is marked by low stroke. Okay, this happens only we see secondary stress, as we're gonna see, in words including 4 syllables and 5 syllables and maybe more than that. Okay, how do we know where to stress a syllable؟ ده سؤال مهم جدا. اولا let's see that in English there is no fixed position for stress. يعني unfortunately English doesn't have a fixed place, syllable كده معين نحط فيه عليه stress, unlike French, for example, where they stress or usually the last syllable. They say président, they say barré, and so on. But in Finnish and Czech languages, برضو they don't have a problem because they put stress on the first syllable in all words. In Polish, they put stress on the penultimate syllable or the syllable before the last. So they don't have problems, these languages, because they put stress on a fixed place in all words. نيجي كده على الكلمة نشوف الفرنساوي نحط في آخر كلمة في آخر syllable، في الفينش وفي التشيك في الفيرست syllable، في البولش في السيلابل قبل الأخير and so on. طب as far as the English is concerned, we don't have a fixed position for stress, and we can find it at the verb in falling on the first syllable, as in the word middle or middle, on the second syllable as in the word continue, and on the third syllable as in the word entertain. Okay, so this poses a problem for learners of English, and this is why when we learn a word, it's better to learn how to pronounce it and also how to mark stress on it, to know which syllable is stressed, because if you de-stress a syllable and or you put stress on the wrong syllables, this distorts and spoils the shape of the whole word and gives very bad impression. Sometimes it leads to misunderstanding. So pay attention to this very important element, which is stress. It's very important in English in particular, because of what we said, that there is no specific place or specific syllable to receive stress in English. However, to know where to stress a word, we need to know to take into consideration a number of factors. أنا وأنا كده بسأل نفسي، دكتور ليلى بتقول لي اعمل مارك ستريس، أنا بسأل نفسي شوية أسئلة كده وبعرف هشتغل على الستريس ده ازاي. Number one, the part of speech the word belongs to. I ask myself, is it what is this word? Is it a noun? Is it a verb? Is it an adjective? If it's a noun, an adjective, or an adverb, or a verb, it must be stressed. There must be a stress syllable in it. Okay. طيب. If it is an article, if it's a preposition, if it's a conjunction, and so on, these words are not stressed because they are function words. They are weak words, as we're gonna see. Number two, phonological structure of syllable. I look at the syllable and see if it contains a long vowel or a diphthong. دي قاعدة بقى. If it contains a long vowel or a diphthong, or it ends with more than one consonant, definitely, or in most of the cases, the syllable must receive stress. If a syllable includes a short vowel or a weak vowel, such as schwa or etc., definitely the syllable will be unstressed. So I look at the structure, phonological التركيبة الصوتية بتاعة السيلابل، في كم صوت, how many sounds it includes, and the nature of sounds, and so on. Number two, the number of syllables in a word. I look if a word contains one syllable. There is no problem with stress. I look if it is a content word, I stress it. If it is a function word or a weak word, I do not stress it, and that's it. Number four, morphological factor. I look at the morphology of the word, the components of the word, the morphemes it includes, and I see if the word is a simple word, a compound word made up of two words, complex word made up of three words. وهنشوف لها ديت قواعد كده, and we're gonna talk about all these things one by one. Okay, word stress and word class. Okay. We have here two kinds of words. We have content words and we have function words. Content words includes زي ما انتم شايفين كده verbs, nouns, adjectives, and adverbs. And function words, they include prepositions, auxiliaries, conjunctions, articles, and so on. طب as far as stress is concerned, القاعدة بتقول لي هوت إن content words are always stressed while function words are usually unstressed. Please pay attention to this rule and try to apply it. Okay. Let's look at function words here. These are some of the function words. As you see, they are called weak forms, and they are, as you see, transcribed with schwas, and they are said with the least amount of energy, and they are said very rapidly. For example, in the different article said as schwa, an, the, some, schwas, and so on. Pronouns, he becomes e, she, his, we delete her, her, we delete her, you and your also, we transcribe them with schwa, and we say them with the least amount of energy. Prepositions, at, of, to. Conjunctions, we have and, as, then, that, but all include schwas, as you see, very weak. Auxiliaries, can, do, have, of, delete the ha, had, delete the ha, was. So these are some of the weak forms. Of course, there are many, but I have only given you some of them. Okay, they are very important because they spare us a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of headache. Because whenever I see these words, in most of the cases I put them in the weak forms, and I put schwas, as you see in the transcription. So it's very easy for me to transcribe these weak forms or these function words. فأنا خلاص بشوفهم خلاص. My job is easy. I put schwas and I do not pronounce them with emphasis and with length and so on, and with prominence. طيب لما نشوف هنا some words here or some utterances. He sat under a tree. What are the important words here? Sat and tree. How about the rest? There are functional words. It's he is a preposition, under is an adverb. Sorry, is a he is a pronoun, under is a preposition, a is an article, and so on. فهنا يبقى عندي أنا بريح نفسي خالص من he و under و a وبركز على sat و tree. They are receiving stress, and fortunately each one of them is a one syllable word, and there is no problem with stressing. We put stress on it, and that's it. Okay, so let's look at the second. There is someone at the door. Someone is important, and door also is important. The rest are not important. So here this is giving us a very important thing we should know about the English language, is alternation between stresses and unstresses. You will find in every English sentence or utterance words which are important and words which are weak. Weak words, pronounce them with the least amount of time, and also when you transcribe them, use schwa as we see the weak form. And as far as the content words, try to look at them and see which syllable is important, and we gonna give you some rules. Put the books on the table. What are the important words here? Put, books, and table. Put is a verb, books is a noun, and table is a noun. And look at the rest. There are weak words. Okay, so here I want you to learn how to transcribe. This will help you a great deal when we come to transcribe, and also when we pronounce. We don't give extra emphasis on these words. Okay. How do we know where to stress a word? Here we have a very important rule I want you to learn by heart, which is that stress, احرفوها كده, stress the syllable which contains a long vowel or a diphthong or ends with more than one consonant. This rule must be learned by heart and apply it as much as you can, and I think that it will also save you a lot of time and a lot of heartache and headache and mispronunciation and mistranscription and so on. So what's the rule again? It's stress the syllable which contains a long vowel or a diphthong or ends with more than one consonant. Please repeat after me here. Inform, English, placement, accuse, writing, lecture, father, divide, believe, dinner, question, assume. Okay, you'll find that nouns are stressed on the first syllables, as in English, placement, writing, etc., and verbs are stressed on their second syllables, as believe, divide, accuse, inform, etc. Okay, so here هناخد قاعدة بقى بقول لك the first syllable in nouns and the second syllables in verbs. We stress the first syllable in nouns ومعهم كمان ال adjectives وال adverbs, and we stress the second syllable in verbs. Of course, this is not an absolute rule, but there are exceptions, and but we give you the general rules which can help you navigate the process of pronunciation and as well as transcription. Let me give you some examples on two-syllable words. Here we have nouns. Could you please repeat after me? Teacher, student, carpet, lesson, region, illness, statement, city, convict, increase, instinct, object, pyramid, present, project, simple. Nouns also can be stressed on the last syllable لو كان لقيناهم فيهم القاعدة اللي قلنا عليهم. The second syllable contains a long vowel or a diphthong. For example, trainee, it ends with the suffix ee. Trainee, career, delay, concern, police, hotel, cassette. Two-syllable adjectives the same, نفس القاعدة بتاعت nouns. Okay, funny, local, useful, foolish, native, careless. Bardo, when we have a second syllable containing a long vowel or a diphthong, we stress the second syllable in adjectives. For example, absurd, complete, extreme. Okay, and also concerning the adjectives and suffixes, we're gonna talk about it. But here, for that, we have insane, immune, engaged, unwell, unknown. Three-syllable words. The same rule. بنطبق نفس القاعدة برضو. Stress a syllable which contains a long vowel or a diphthong or ends with more than one syllable. ends with more than one consonant. Here we have, could you please repeat after me? Entertain. Here, enter. What's the stress syllable here? Tain. And enter here is the receiving is secondary stress. Okay, could you please repeat after me? Yes. Entertain, inclusive, arrogant, internal, concluding, important, imagine, separate, separate لو كانت noun and separate لو كانت verb. Okay. National. Okay. National. 4-syllable words or 5-syllable words. Here we have the يظهر لنا secondary stress. Okay. And here you'll find the primary stress, the strongest stress will be put with the small stroke high up, and the secondary stress will be marked by a small stroke down, as you see. Here, if you look at the word manipulation, lay is the stress syllable, and it carries the strongest stress, the primary stress. And man is also important, but here we cannot have too important or too strong stresses in a word. This again is the law of the English language rhythm, and that's why man loses part of its strength and it carries secondary stress, and we call it primary stress, secondary stress syllable. Manipulation stress على primary stress على lay. Photography, diplomatic, secondary, and so on. نقراهم تاني. Manipulation, photography, diplomatic, secondary. Okay, here we have some words also show how secondary stress is marked here in words such as centralization. Okay, centralization. They is a stress syllable, carries primary stress marked by a small stroke here, as you see, high up, as you see, and the second syllable, which is also important, but it's not as important as they, and it carries secondary stress, which is san. نفس الكلام بقى بكل words كده هنلاقي فيه secondary stress برضو stress syllables مهمة، لكن هي it's not as important as the syllables which carry primary stress. Could you please repeat after me? Centralization, modification, composition, nationalization, administration, organization, anticipation, overbalance, justification, hospitality, satisfactory. Okay. Sentimentality, impossibility, artificial, unaccountable, qualification, consideration, examination, temperamental or temperamental. Okay, temperamental or temperamental applies the rule and three consonants هم يا جماعة ورا بعض يبقى the major consonant must be out. So okay, so we say temperamental. Okay, temperamental. Pronunciation, fundamental. Stress shift and word class. لما بغير بقى السترess بحطه في حتة تانية I change the whole word class. Here you find subject. Okay, if you change the stress and put it in the second you get a verb. Okay, يبقى ده علاقة ايه stress shift and word class. When we shift stress we get another word class. So here could you please repeat after me? Subject, rebel, convict, produce, export, import, address. نفس الكلام هنا. abstract, accent as a verb بقى. conflict, contest, export, suspect, protest, contrast or contrast. Stress and word morphology. Here we have what's meant by morphology. It's simply defined as a science which studies the structure of words, and we have to and the word morpheme is the smallest unit in that structure. Okay, as we said before when about the phonemes, the small sound unit, morpheme is the smallest meaning unit. Okay, and we have two kinds of morpheme. We have free morphemes and bound morphemes. Free morphemes, morphemes which can stand alone and they do not need any suffixes or prefixes such as play, teach, and nation. And we have bound morphemes, as the word suggests. They are suffixes and prefixes. Morphemes coming after the stem and before the stem. لو جت after يبقى اسمه suffix, before يبقى prefixes. Okay. And we have these are elements as to the stem to form new words, derivative, such as NESS, ISH, ABLE, AL, REUN, and sometimes to make inflections in order to have different grammatical classes of the stem. For example, play, played, and playing. Type. As far as stress placement is concerned, it is usually the stem of the word that receives the stress. دايما هو يعني عادة the stem أصل الكلمة هو اللي receiving the stress. Look at teach, teacher, teaching, teachable. It's a teach in all these words because teach is the stem. هو أصل الكلمة. Okay. And here we're gonna talk about suffixes وهنقسمهم إلى a number of categories. And the first category includes the suffixes which carry stress. بنسيب الكلمة كلها وبنحط الstress على الsuffix. Number 1, EE as in nominee, EER, volunteer, ESE, Portuguese, ESQE, statuesque, IQU, unique, ETTE, cassette. Let's read again. Nominee, volunteer, Portuguese, statuesque, unique, cassette. دول ايه suffixes which carries stress. لما اشوفهم احط على الستريس زي ما انتم شايفين كده على these suffixes. Number 2, suffixes causing stress shift to the syllable immediately before them. الsyllables suffixes ديت they do not carry stress but they shift stress to to be put on the syllable before them, and they include IC, ITY, AIL, IAL, IOUS, ION, IAN, EOUS, and graphy. Okay, let's look at the example. Diplomat. طبعا I see diplomatic. So in the first we have dip, but when we add IC, the stress shifts to mat. Okay, diplomat, diplomatic. Fiddle, fidelity, fiddle, fidelity. Adverb, adverbial. Advent, advantageous. Opposite, opposition. Egypt, Egyptian. Advantage, advantageous. Topograph, topography. Again, diplomat, diplomatic. Fiddle, fidelity. Adverb, adverbial. Advent, advantageous. Opposite, opposition. Egypt, Egyptian. Advantage, advantageous. Topograph, topography. Suffixes not causing stress shift زي وجودهم زي عدمهم كده. They do not affect stress placement. LY EN MENT FUL NESS YNGLESS. Here we have similar, and when we added Y, stress placement doesn't change. It remains on the first syllable as you see. So here similarly, awake, awaken, enhance, enhancement, respect. Please repeat again. Similarly, awake, awaken, enhance, enhancement, respect, respectful, steady, steadiness, robbery, divide, dividing, stress, stressfulness. Prefixes بقى مش هيبقى اللي عندهم تأثير خالص. Prefixes are bound morphemes that come at the beginning of the word, and they are usually unstressed. Okay, though some of them may carry secondary stress as indicated below زي ما هنشوف دلوقتي, and they do not cause stress shift in the words in which they occur. Okay, وجودهم برضو مش بيأثر زي ما نشوف كده. The word moral حط على more ما أثرتش عليه. Okay, could you please repeat after me? Immoral, counteract, discount, impossible, irregular, misunderstand, unlucky, propose, international, antibiotic, destabilize, illiterate, insignificant, maltreatment, nonverbal, nonverbal, revive, postgraduate, international. Stress in compound words. Here we have, what are compound words? Words are made up of 2 or 3 words and they are joined together, such as bookcase, ice cream, bookcase, ice cream, armchair, paper wall. Type. To stress both words in compound words is not acceptable in English because it goes against the laws of the English rhythm, which it doesn't allow having 2 stresses in a row. And here we have these following general rules which can help you mark stress in compound nouns or in compound words. Number 1, 2 noun compounds. If you have a words compound word that's made up of 2 nouns, you stress the first noun. Okay, armchair, ice cream. Okay. Number 2, adjectives and ed compounds. You stress the ed form. For example, kind-hearted, green-eyed, narrow-minded. And the noun compounds. You stress the noun. First class, second floor, third day. Number 4, adverb functioning compounds. Stress the second word. Southwest, upstairs. Adverb verb compounds. Stress the verb. Underscore, upload, overcome. Number 6, noun plus number compounds. Functioning as adverb. Stress the number. Head first, And number 7, adjective plus noun compounds functioning as nouns. Stress the nouns. Heavy metal. And number 8, phrasal verbs. Stress the particle and the main verb has secondary stress. يا جماعة عندنا give up، نقول give up، بنحط stress على up وهنسيب المين verb نحط له secondary stress. Give up, come along, put on, turn off. Okay, finally let me summarize the rules. Here we have 2 golden rules. The main rule of stress ان لما بعمل الستريس بشوف القاعدة المهمة اللي هو تقول لي stress, the syllable which contains a long vowel or a diphthong or ends with more than 1 consonant. A second rule, in nouns, adjectives, adverbs have stress on the first syllables and verbs have stress on the second syllable. Of course, these rules are not absolute and there are exceptions, but they will help to a great extent. Okay, then this is a table which illustrates, okay, nouns here, first syllable as center, yes, center or center, object, flower. Second, verbs we will stress on the second syllable or on the last. Release, admit, arrange. طيب compounds، طيب هنحط على first part لو noun or adjective noun. desktop, pencil case, bookshelf, greenhouse. Okay, compounds برضو لما يبقى عندي adjective plus past participle بحط على ايه؟ على last part يعني اللي هو past participle. والmeant, hard headed, old fashioned. طب verbs plus prepositions and verbs functioning as verbs بنحط stress على الverb فبنقول understand, overlook, outperform. آخر حاجة برضو phrasal verbs بنحط stress على particle وسay turn off, buckle up, hand out. As far as suffixes, I see TAIN, CAIAN, SION, كل ديت taking the stress before the syllable or the syllable on the syllable before them. For example, economic, geometrical, electrical, technician, graduation, cohesion, and we have also the suffixes phy, gy, try, cy, fy, al, and also the suffix mirror. كل دول يا جماعة we put stress immediately before them. For example, here photography before graphy, biology before logy, geometry before metry. وكل ده parameter, thermometer, parameter and thermometer and barometer. كل ما هو قبل meter is stressed. All the syllables before meter, before bio, before graphe, logi, geometry, and so on are stressed. Let's read again. Turn off, club, pen down, economic, geometric, electrical, technician, graduation, cohesion, photography, biology, geometry, parameter, thermometer, and parameter and barometer. تاني barometer, thermometer, barometer. And thank you, and that's all. And Happy New Year. Enjoy your time, and see you next time. Bye bye.